Another season has come and gone for the Bootleg Racing League, and as our hearts and minds begin to look to new challenges on the horizon, our eyesight focuses firmly here on the iconic Bristol Motor Speedway and its dirt configuration for the Whiteriver Shootout. Hello everyone, my name is DJ Clark, and I'd like to welcome you not only to today's race, but to the inaugural broadcast of the Virtual Grip Network. Today's Whiteriver Shootout will see drivers from across the Bootleg Racing League's many series showing what they've got around Bristol in big block dirt modifieds. And who better to tell us just what these drivers can expect than my partner here in the booth, Austin Belkey. Austin, we're not really used to seeing these modifieds take place in the BRL events, but what can we expect to see from these drivers out here today?
No, sir, that's correct. These big block modifieds have a lot more power, about 200 more horsepower, and they're about 400 pounds lighter than the dirt street stock. So you can really afford to throw these things into the corner. Probably going to be a highline race. I was talking to Brandon Proudfoot earlier this week. He said the cushion is probably going to build up against the wall, make the highline even more dominant. But later in the race, the bottom line should come in. So we should have a very, very good two-lane racetrack for these guys to race on. Sliders, possible. Not easy, going to be very hard to nail. Make sure you can clear the guy, but we do have a chance of seeing him.
Well, those are going to be some storylines that we're going to have to watch throughout the race, as the racetrack will not reset, but we'll get into that later. But before we do anything else, we do want to thank today's sponsor, which is Whiteriver LLC. Whiteriver LLC is a risk management and consulting firm for industry and government and is owned and led by a 2-decade supporter of sim racing. Now, as I said, we're going to get into those race details, and, well, it's a dirt race, so you probably have an idea what's coming. That's right, it's going to be a heat race format here today. Those heat races around here are going to be 6 laps with 6 cars. The top 2 from those heat races will transfer. We're then going to have a B main that's going to be 8 laps. The feature race, well, that'll be a 50-lap affair around here, around Bristol, and at that point, it'll be 16 cars that make it, so we may see a little bit of bumping out of it. As I said, the track state's not going to reset. Those virtual water trucks not coming out here at all today. Cautions only thrown in the feature event. And unlike some of the other times we've seen that out there, the caution laps will count here around Bristol. Only other thing to keep in mind is with 10 laps to go, it's going to be a single file restart. Outside of that, it's double file, and leader gets lane choice. And so with all of that, we want to bring your attention to what is happening out on track. There you can see it, ladies and gentlemen, the big block modifieds making their way around here right now. The number 45 doing a little bit of tearing up. That is Jason Menda. And Menda, as you can see there, working his way around, now following in on Jeffrey Harden. Harden working that high side. Austin, you said that that may be the way to go later on in the race.
Just like we saw in the NASCAR race on Dirt Bristol earlier this year, when the NASCAR Cup Series and Truck Series came here, I think it's just, the highline is just easier. You know, you can really afford to throw the car in there. You'll have the side force on the car to help you stay off the wall, and it should just be a place where you can really let it all hang out.
And very true, and there's one of the men that we're going to be watching a whole lot of during this race. Number 22, Brandon Proudfoot, a 3-time winner in the Dirt Street Stock Series. And as you can see there during qualifying, he is out to a good lead. Justin Morton there in the number 9. He is a guy that likes to run on the high line quite a bit, so this may be a race that favors him.
Brandon Proudfoot's one of the guys you're really going to want to watch, because, like you said, he's a 3-time champion. Every time we come to the dirt track, he's a force to be reckoned with.
He very much is. And there's Jason Menda working his way around again back in 13th, but we focus back up here on Justin Morton. Now, this is the last 5 minutes of practice. Drivers will be able to go out and qualify. It'll be a 4-lap, single car affair out there. So just trying to get a feel for what the track is right now.
Right now we're looking at Justin Morton. He's another guy that came into the dirt series as a real dirt guy. You know, he's really good on asphalt. In fact, he came very, very close to winning the last asphalt championship in the Grand National Series, which is also going to be broadcast here on the Virtual Grip Network. Justin really enjoys the dirt. I look for him to be strong later tonight.
Yeah, he's one that I'm certainly going to have my eye on. And as they go there into the corner, you can see it starting to slick up a little bit. Cushion starting to develop up on the high side. And one of the things that does make this Bristol configuration a little bit unique is the fact that there is still banking on the main straightaways. And so that's going to cause a little bit of confusion. Great camera angle there as we see just how that wheel's having to work its way around.
You can see the track starting to rubber up somewhere where these guys have gone. One thing to note, the dirt tires do not wear. What they do, in fact, do is overheat. You spin them, you get heat in them. The hotter they are, the more they spin, so it's a very, very vicious circle.
It is indeed, and they're going to have to be very careful about that. You don't want to get those tires overheating, because if you do, it's really going to cost you down the line. You're going to lose a lot of grip either on the high side or the low side. A lot of drivers here, though, just experimenting, as that's Chris Davis working his way around, running a little bit of a middle line. He's tracking in behind Robbie Robinson, seeing if he can get any advantage over that 56.
Another guy I look to be strong here later tonight, someone who's incredibly strong on the asphalt side, so it's kind of weird to see him do this well on dirt, is Kenny Kibby. Right now he's third fastest in practice time, Twitch streamer. He'll be taking my place here every other week when we do the dirt street stock races. Kenny is going to be extremely strong here tonight. He's been looking forward to this race for a long time.
Yeah, and Kenny we've seen a couple of times out a couple of seasons ago in the Dirt Street Stock Series, so good to see him back out there. There he is in the number 14. A little strange not to see him in that distinctive orange livery that I'm so used to see him running, but he's going to be pleased with the third place right now. Just getting around here, the super, super high banking around Bristol. It's going to cause some problems, I think. It's going to catch a few drivers out if they're not careful.
Yeah, you can see Kenny's just looking for grip, trying the top, trying the bottom. You know, if you can run the top and you can be really comfortable up there, but during the race, you said it, double file restarts. If you're on the bottom and you've never run down there, it's going to be very, very hard to have confidence in your abilities to hold the car down there and keep up with the people on the high side on the restarts.
Yeah, they're going to have to watch out for that as Billy Northcutt gets a little friendly up there into the wall. He'll be able to go back into the pits right there. Now, one thing we haven't mentioned about this is these drivers do have a free repair. That means that they'll be able to come into the pits and essentially get some new parts on the car. No problem at all. The only catch with that is that they're going to want to come in under their own power, because if they take a tow, even under yellow, that means they're going to end up a lap down.
Yep, and going a lap down, you just cannot afford to. These races are not long enough for you to make it back, and we don't have lucky dogs here. So if you are a lap down, you're going to have to get it back the hard way.
Yeah, you are, and as we've seen in these races, getting those laps back under green is very, very tricky. As we now run under 30 seconds to go here in this practice, everybody's working their way around right now. As we see some of the familiar names that we have seen in the Dirt Street Stock Series, Northcutt, Shepard, Chris Davis, Brandon Proudfoot up at the top of the list. Only 13 entries, so it looks like everyone will make it through to the A main.
And I can tell you, that's such a good feeling as a driver to know that you made all this space on your calendar to run the race. And just to have to go home is the worst feeling in the world. So to know that you're at least guaranteed a spot in the feature means a lot.
Does indeed. As we take a look there at those track statistics, it's 27 degrees Celsius and about 74 degrees Fahrenheit out on track, a good amount of humidity. So that's going to mean that the dirt and moisture is going to stay nice and moist over the course of the race. Hopefully not nearly as much slick going through. As now we get ready for qualifying here, John Wilson, the number 75 out on track. He's going to be one of the first drivers to test his luck around Bristol.
You know, when I look at John, here's a guy that came into the league like most of the people in BRL. He came in, he was not the fastest guy consistently. But over the years and over the races that he's run, he's become more and more consistent and faster over the course of his career. He started out running, you know, low teens. Now he cracked the top 10, cracked the top 5. He's made a ton of improvement, and I am so proud of the gains he's made.
Very much so. As we start to see these times come in, Robbie Robinson up to the top of the charts. He's got a little bit of an advantage there over Chris Davis, but Jason Menda able to bump his way up through. We continue to follow Robbie Robinson. Robinson not able to go faster there. Oh, no, he is able to go faster on that last lap as Chris Davis now jumps his way up.
Robbie's actually an Air Force veteran. It's important to thank a veteran every day. Every time you see one, try to thank him. Robbie is one of the guys that doesn't show up all the time, but when he does show up, you can count on him to be extremely fast and fight the usual fast guys that show up week in and week out. So it's very, very refreshing to see Robbie when he makes it run so well.
Indeed. Still waiting on some of the heavy hitters to come out. Justin Morton just making ways out of the pits now. Still waiting for Kenny Kibby, Brandon Proudfoot, and J.R. Shepard as Robbie Robinson runs his times. He's about 1.6 seconds up the road. We're going to ride on board with Justin Morton here. To the surprise of no one, he's running that high line and doing it well.
I've always seen the High Line as a very, very comfortable place for me to be. It's not the same for every driver, but I've always seen it as a safe place to go, even somewhere where it might not be preferred. I've typically enjoyed running there. Usually it's a very consistent line, and Justin is one of the best at running it.
Yeah, he really is, but here's the guy you got to watch out for, Brandon Proudfoot, the dirt street stock master. He's going on that low line right here, seeing what he can do. Proudfoot coming across the line to start his... Oh, there it is. Up to the top of the charts, beating Robbie Robinson by 33 thousandths of a second.
You know, let's be honest. We're really surprised that Brandon did end up taking... He's got provisional pole for now, but I don't see that time coming second to anyone else.
No, neither do I. I don't think there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be able to beat that here. But they continue to work their way around. Looking at the 86, this is Austin Smith as he's riding that high line. Currently back in 12th position, the last of the qualified drivers, as we still wait for... Oh, no, Kenny Kibby is out on track.
As is J.R. Shepard. I think J.R. has actually just finished his laps. It looks like he's going to clock in 5th for now. Is indeed. Proudfoot continues to go around. There's Kibby trying to improve on that time, but he is a fair ways back, about a half a second of your leader, Brandon Proudfoot. So he's going to have to do a little bit better to work his way forward. Kenny Kibby there again, crossing over the line. He had a quicker sector too, but not enough to get himself going. Justin Morton running the last few laps here. I think he's put in his 4, but he's just running some practice here. Only a minute to go in qualifying. These drivers just out on the track trying to get the best feel for it they can. One thing I would like to point out too, look at the split amongst these drivers in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. You can see it's incredibly close from one driver to the next, especially when you get from 1st to about 5th. These times are incredibly close to one another.
They very much are. It's very, very quick around here, and it's those infinitesimal gaps that are going to make the difference between a win and a loss. Ticking down here, under 15 seconds to go. we get ready to get going under these heat races.
One of the things you mentioned at the top of the broadcast, DJ, in BRL, we're used to always running for points. There are no drop weeks. We only have one of these shootout races a year for dirt and one for asphalt. So there's no points on the line. Either bring back the checkered flag or the steering wheel. We're going all out in this race.
We are indeed, and as we get ready to go racing here, it's time for the first heat. Leading off will be Brandon Proudfoot in the pole position, followed by Billy Northcutt with Billy Northcutt and Chris Davis lining up in third. Jeffrey Harden will be fourth, followed by Austin Smith in fifth.
For the most part, I would expect the leader of every heat to start up high. I think that's just the safe way to go. I think we saw all the drivers start up high. Oh, a little bit of contact on the grid.
A little bit of bumping and banging there. Just some fun being had by the drivers. But that high line, probably the way to go here. Do you think early on they may be able to make something work low?
Oh, definitely. I think if Brandon gets a good enough jump on the bottom, he could definitely clear Northcutt by the time he gets into turn one. So I feel like you can make something happen down there. I feel like also the track's still fresh. The bottom might work. We'll have to see what Brandon chooses here. So far, he hasn't made any move to say that he'd like the outside, so I guess he'll take the inside.
Well, that seems to be the way to go, as he's going to be lining down on that inside line. Just waiting for the pace car to pull off and we can get going green. There they make their way around, all eyes focused on that 22 machine as he will take control of the field once that pace car pulls off. Waiting for it here, he will dive down off of turn 4, and that will be the signal that Proudfoot will take over everything. There goes the pace car. Everybody's starting to stack up, and it's a good start for Brandon Proudfoot. A big, big jump, putting Billy Northcutt and Chris Davis to shame as they make their way through 1 and 2.
A fantastic jump off the start of the race for Brandon Proudfoot. You can see he's already cleared them by, what is that, 5, 6, 7 car lengths now? And you can see their double file in the back. Some guys choosing the low line. Brandon, of course, choosing to come high up on the straightaways and then dive back down low in the turn. So looks like the bottom line is the preferred one for now.
That's what I'm thinking as well. Everybody on that low line here as they cross over the first lap in the books. It's Brandon Proudfoot, followed by Chris Davis and Billy Northcutt. Everyone down on that low line, getting those left front tires down onto the moist dirt and letting the rear tires work their way through the slicked up stuff. Little bit of a battle starting to develop there for P4.
You can see the first 3 cars all choosing that low line. I think the first car that's even trying to experiment, I don't know if it's experiment or he's just missing a line. Of course, we're not used to driving these cars, so you can't really blame the drivers, but some guys trying to go for that middle line.
Yeah, trying to test out on that middle line as we ride on board here with Billy Northcutt. You see him trying to dive a little bit lower than Chris Davis, seeing if there's anything to do there, but it just doesn't look like he's got anything doing. As here comes Proudfoot, though, to cross over the line. That's going to be the white flag for the 22. Ooh, very close there for the 00 of Billy Northcutt as he's trying to push forward, but it looks like Chris Davis has everything under control. They start to work their way through 3 and 4 for the last time, and Proudfoot takes the checkered flag. Chris Davis with the automatic advance as well. Northcutt, Harden, and Smith will be relegated back to the B main.
It's one of the hardest things to do when you're Northcutt, right? You came into this on the outside. If things finished how they started, you would automatically get to advance.
Exactly, they would. But now that he has secured that, we turn our eyes to the second heat race here today. It's only going to be 4 cars out on track, but some good hitters there nonetheless. Lining off in the pole position for this race, it's going to be Robbie Robertson, followed by J.R. Shepard. And then in the row behind them, it'll be Jason Menda and Bobby Hayes. Now, Austin, in that last race, we saw Proudfoot prefer the lower line. Do you think it's going to be a case here again where Robinson goes for that, or is he going to make a change and dive up to the high line?
Honestly, I think Robbie's going to stay down low. We saw everyone else stay down low. I would have to say maybe he might try the high lane if we saw guys search around for grip, and maybe a Chris Davis or a Billy Northcutt made up a ton of time on the outside. But I think it's still a low line race. Maybe the track hasn't developed enough to make the high line really come in yet.
I think that very well may be the case, but I'm going to be keeping my eye on J.R. Shepherd. He's been coming on strong in the dirt races, and he may be looking for a little bit of an upset here over Robbie Robinson.
JR is one of the guys, he's a great asphalt guy, arguably the best, for sure one of the best on asphalt. He's been one of the only ones that can consistently take it to the top guys like Brandon Proudfoot and Bobby Rafferty.
Certainly has, but here goes that iRacing pace truck waiting for Robinson to get on the loud pedal, and there he goes. Not nearly as big of a start that we saw out of Brandon Proudfoot, but cars trying to get their way around. Looks like Shepherd got a little bit squirrely there coming through 1 and 2, but able to hold it together as they go into 3 and 4 now. Robbie Robinson holding off to about a 3-4 car length advantage. Looks like Jason Menda getting a little bit squirrely there out of P3.
Honestly, that start went probably as well as it could have for J.R. Shepherd. Usually the leader has control of the start and the restart, so he goes when he wants to. I think that time Robbie must have waited for the actual iRacing green flag, because you saw the entire field started going all at once. Best thing that could have happened for J.R. Shepherd, because he was able to hold on to that second spot. The all-important top 2 are the ones that automatically advance to the A main.
Yeah, it's those top 2 positions that are very, very crucial, and I think J.R. Shepherd knows that. He doesn't want to push too hard here on Robertson and try to blow an advantage to get through. But we are watching a pretty good battle developing here in P3 and P4. That's Bobby Hayes trying to work that outside line on the way of Jason Menda.
This is going to be very telling to see just how good the high line is starting to become. If I'm in the third heat, especially the leader, I'm watching this battle right here so I can find out which lane I'd rather start in. It looks like the lower line is better. Maybe Hayes got a little bit too slideways up at the top, but definitely one thing to watch.
Yeah, for sure. He's going to have to keep that in line as they cross over here. 1 lap to go. That gap up front maintaining about where it is. Robbie Robinson holding off on about a 5-car length advantage over J.R. Shepherd coming out of turn 4 for the last time. It's going to be Robbie Robinson taking victory here in the second heat, followed by J.R. Shepherd. Those 2 will advance to the A main. Jason Menda and Bobby Hayes will be relegated back to that B main. And now we get ready for the third and final heat out here today. And lining up in the pole position will be Justin Morton, followed by John Wilson to his outside. Kenny Kibby's going to be lining up in third, followed by Ryan Seneker in fourth. Austin, anybody you looking for here in this race?
Well, I feel like Justin Morton automatically has to be your favorite. But if the high line does come in and John gets a good enough restart, or start on the outside, he could potentially very well come away with this race. Another person I always like to keep my eye on, Kenny Kibby. He's always surprising with just how quick he is, especially with minimal practice time. Like you said, he hasn't shown up to many dirt races previously. I look for him, though, to be extremely fast tonight.
Yeah, he'll be one to watch. We haven't seen a lot of people be able to advance out of that second row quite yet, but I do think that Kenny could be one of those drivers that makes his way forward. And so now as they cross over the line here, 1 lap to go under yellow before we get racing here in this third and final heat. Now, following this will be the B main, that 8-lap shootout that will determine the running order for the later cars. But right now, all eyes are focused on Justin Morton. He is sticking down to that low line. Watching him here and go. Chris Davis to his John Wilson to his outside. And again, as we said, watch out for that 14 there in the back of Kenny Kibby. But as for right now, all eyes on the iRacing pace truck. It pulls off to the side. Justin Morton gets on the loud pedal early, and there is a good run for him. Oh, there's contact in the back. That is contact between Kenny Kibby and John Wilson.
Oh my gosh, hard into the inside wall. You saw Kenny do that. I'm surprised that they actually came together like that. Look at this. You can see, it looks like John Wilson just goes up high and then makes contact with Kenny. One of the weird ways iRacing will do that, sometimes when the cars just collide a little bit, it'll just ping pong one car off to the side.
Yeah, I think that was a definite ping pong there. It looks like John got a little bit sideways as he got onto the accelerator. But as the race pans out here, that is Justin Morton way out in front to the tune of about 1.5 seconds over John Wilson. Kenny Kibby has taken a tow. He was in the pits, got his faster pair, and he's back out on track, but he is a lap down at this point. So we continue to follow here. Justin Morton crossing over the line with only about 2 laps to go here around Bristol, doing a very commanding job and continuing to grow that gap, running the low line here early on.
Yep, you mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, DJ. No cautions in these heat races. We won't see a single caution until the A main. If there is something worthy of bringing out a caution, unfortunate reminder for Kenny. Fortunately, though, for him, it's not all over. He still gets a chance to make it into the show. In fact, all drivers will lock into the show. So even though you hate that for Kenny, he will come back later. But Justin Morton still in command in that very, very nice-looking TDR paint scheme.
Indeed, the Total Downforce Racing driver taking the white flag, working up a little bit of a medium line here as he comes out of turn 4 and takes the checkered flag for the 3rd heat race here today. That is going to be John Wilson finishing behind him with Ryan Seneker in 3rd and Kenny Kibby coming home in 4th. So, ladies and gentlemen, that will set the order, I believe, here for the B main. It looks like we may be going straight to the warm-up, however, unless my eyes deceive me.
No, it does say they were both skipped. I guess, we're just going to assume that all the drivers would have finished where they started. You hate to see that if you're Kenny, because of course he will be starting dead last. But Billy Northcutt, very happy to see it. He was going to be the first guy to start in the B main. He was going to be my favorite to win with how fast he always is. And of course, the pole position is a big, big bonus.
It very, very much is. We have not seen a driver lose who started off in pole position, so that is going to be a change there for them. You watch Robbie Robinson making his way around. Now remember, he'll be starting off P2, I believe, if my numbers are right. Now this is about a 5-lap warm-up, and what it allows these drivers to do is get a good sense of what the track is, especially if you ran in that first heat race. You need to know what it feels like.
Yeah, it's very, very important to see how the track has changed. You know, if you're Brandon Proudfoot, the only laps you've run on this track are the ones that you did in the very first heat. You know, we've probably put 15 laps or more than that on this track since that started. 12 done by other drivers who weren't Brandon. So it's very, very imperative that he gets out here and sees where the grip is. Is the high line in yet? Where do I want to start? Do I want to start on the bottom or do I want to start on the top? How big is that cushion? One thing I like that Justin Morton did at the end of his heat race is he started to kind of go up high, kind of adventure. Maybe try to build in that high line before it really should. He's a smart guy. I wouldn't put that past him to try and work that in a little bit early.
I have to agree with you there, Austin. And as I've said, I'm very used to seeing Morton run on that high line in the Dirt Street Stock Series. That's normally where he likes to go. But we're keeping our eyes here on John Wilson, one of those drivers that you pointed out, Austin, that has had some really, really great growth over the past couple of seasons on the dirt side. We've seen him go from being a back marker to a midfielder to now starting to challenge a little bit for podiums. And so let's see how he'll face today, changing things up a little bit in the big block modifieds.
Yeah, this is a huge deal for some of these guys to showcase their talent. Of course, we're very, very much accustomed to seeing these guys come out here in the dirt street stocks. And as much as it is nice to see things change in those, it's incredibly cool to see these guys wheel different kind of cars than what we're used to and really showcase their talents. Of course, we don't race these on a week-to-week basis, so these guys probably hopped in these cars a month ago tops to try and practice for these races. You can see we're looking at Jason Menda. I usually run a throwback scheme to Jeff Gordon on the Saturday night races. Jason is a huge fan of Davey Allison. You can see him showcasing that red number 45 Haviland car.
You gotta love it. It's one of those things that I most love that you can see on the iRacing service is that tribute to the past, all of those throwback liveries. So great to see Menda running that out here today. As we look at the timing, though, for this warm-up race, J.R. Shepard on the top of the list, only to the tune of about 24 thousandths of a second, though. He is over Brandon Proudfoot. John Wilson running in third. So some very, very close and competitive driving here. We could be in for a little bit of a mixed-up A-main as we get ready to go, ticking down just over a minute to go.
Interesting note about JR's car, you can see his paint is paying homage to the sponsor of this race, Whiteriver LLC. JR was actually hand-picked to run that scheme, so he's effectively the house scheme car. I'm really digging it. The neon yellow, the dark blue, the black, and the white. If you change that white to like a light gray, very, very reminiscent of the cars that Jimmy Johnson won his first couple NASCAR Cup Series championships in. So very cool scheme for JR here tonight.
Have to agree with you, and it's a nice little bit of a departure from the sort of green and blue and gray that we normally see JR running. I hope he gets to keep a scheme like this going forward, because I got to tell you, I am a big, big fan, and I think JR is going to be a big fan of the lap times he's putting down here, able to grow that gap a little bit more to Brandon Proudfoot in this warm-up. Only about 10 seconds to go here before we get ready to go green flag racing. And there he is indeed, the Fistful of Bourbon, number 22. That is going to be the car to watch. As the checkered flag flies in warm-up, we get ready to go racing in the A-main out here today. There you see the cars taking off the track, and we get ready to grid. Here is your starting order for the A-main for the Whiteriver Shootout. Starting on pole will be Brandon Proudfoot, and to his outside will be Robbie Robinson. Justin Morton will be lining up third, followed by Chris Davis, with J.R. Shepard and John Wilson lining up behind him. Austin?
Billy Northcutt's going to start 7th with Jason Menda to his outside. In the next row is Ryan Seneker, fellow Michigan driver. With him in that same row is Jeffrey Harden. Lining up 11th is Bobby Hayes and Kenny Kibby in 12th.
And back in 13th is going to be Austin Smith, and that will be the full field for this main event. Now remember, yellow flags will be thrown during the course of this race. They are enforced by iRacing. No live track officials out here today, and yellow flag laps will count. So those will tick down as the cars run behind the iRacing pace truck. But now we get ready to go here. 2 laps of warm-up. Austin, who you watching?
Well, 2 guys most importantly, but I will bring a 3rd guy into this. Obviously, Brandon Proudfoot's the favorite coming into this. Strong underdog, though, Robbie Robinson. And do not look past Justin Morton. Extremely fast on the dirt. You could see him working in that high line. If this becomes a high line dominant race, I look for Justin to try and pull a slider on Brandon.
I have to agree with you on that. The other one that I'm kind of taking a look at is Chris Davis. Lining up there in 4th, a very aggressive driver. I love the way he's willing to throw that car into the corners, and he could have a fun race out here today. Now, our Eagle Eye viewers will notice that Brandon Proudfoot is doing what we've been talking about early on. He is starting up on the high line. And so that could be a bit of a game changer for everyone back down the field. But now his eyes focus continually on that iRacing pace truck. Brandon Proudfoot waiting to take control of the field as the pace truck dives off of turn 4. We are about to get ready to go racing here at Bristol on the dirt configuration. Eyes focused on that pace truck, and there it turns off. Eyes now go to Brandon Proudfoot, waiting for the loud pedal to come on, and there it is. We're racing at Bristol. It's a real kerfluffle there in the back. Little bit of contact, it looked, between Justin Morton, Robbie Robinson, and I think John Wilson, but Proudfoot off to a good start, as well as Chris Davis up 2 positions. John Wilson now running the high line through 3 and 4. Contact there in the back between Menda and Hardin, I think. But there it goes, getting single file now here as they start the second lap. It is going to be your top 3, Brandon Proudfoot, Chris Davis, John Wilson.
A huge jump there for the outside line. I have to attribute that mostly to Brandon Proudfoot, and you can't forget, Chris Davis saw him go, and he had to rely on his fast reflexes to get him out there. Oh, a bit of a touch between John Wilson and Justin Morton down the front stretch. Obviously, that high line's starting to come in. Justin Morton knows it. He's trying to take advantage and get as many spots as he can.
Yeah, absolutely. Big time. That was really caused. I don't think John Wilson realized just how much speed and momentum Morton was going to take. And there you can see him coming down the start-finish stripe. Just absolutely a rocket as he blew on by. Behind him, it looks like J.R. Shepard got that memo as well. He's going up to the high line, and he's going to try to get past John Wilson here, coming through 3 and 4. He looks like he's going to diamond it off a little bit more, but still able to carry a good bit of momentum. Wilson blocks him off, but now that means Shepard's going to dive back up to the high line, trying to make it work. Wilson getting a little bit squirrely on the exit of turn 2. That's going to send Shepard down to the low line for a second, back up high. A little bit of a blink there for the 98. He's going to try to go for a little bit of an over-under, but still doesn't have the momentum to take away that 4th place position from John Wilson. But now that's Shepard going low.
Interesting that John Wilson saw JR doing that and realized the number one thing you can do to prevent yourself from being passed on dirt is to just take that other guy's line away, because the only way he can pass you then is to drive through you. One of the best things about the Bootleg Racing League is that we all race each other with a lot of respect. You know, we try not to make contact. If we do, we apologize afterwards. You can see, though, J.R. Shepard was able to make that bottom line work and get around John Wilson. Now he's going to have to try and chase down the top 3 cars.
Yes, he is. And now it looks like John Wilson may be trying to take a little bit of a plan out of that book, following in the tire tracks of J.R. Shepard. Well, we're going to move our eyes up here. This is Justin Morton starting to press Chris Davis for P2. We ride on board right now with Justin Morton as you see Chris Davis's pink and white machine popping into view. Morton trying to go down to the low side. He's going to be side by side as they exit turn 2, almost banging doors as they come out of it. These drivers are really, really duking it out. Trying to throw a little bit of a slide job. There is Morton. That's going to be Chris Davis trying to look for the crossover. Almost gets it. Gets a little bit sideways coming down the main straightaway. I think it is advantage Morton as Davis tries to get up into him. Little bit of contact and big contact into the wall for Justin Morton.
Oh, hard contact for Justin. Just very unfortunate that Chris Davis went in there. A little bit too much power, just slid up. Justin left him room, but, of course, put himself in the wall in that. Well, another thing to note, though, Kenny Kibby made up a couple spots there. Another one just now getting past Justin Morton. You can really see where the grip on the track was. It wasn't quite up near the wall there. We saw Justin Morton make a lot of gains and pass Chris Davis with the slider. But before that, he was about 1 car width off the wall. That's, I think, where the grip is now.
Yeah, that cushion really playing into effect, and you saw there, and I like that you pointed it out, Austin, the sportsmanship that this series has. That was not malicious at all by Chris Davis. That was just some good, hard racing there in between the two, and sometimes when you are racing that close on a dirt track, that sort of contact does happen. So obviously a heartbreak there for Justin Morton, but he will recycle back into 9th position right now. And with the speed we've seen out of that car, he may be able to make a couple of positions up.
One of the biggest storylines for Justin Morton in the Dirt Street Stock League is he always gets a good start. He runs up front with the leaders. He always gets taken out about 10 laps into the race. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. He gets taken out, sent to the back of the field. And then by the end of the race, though, he's always right up there in the top 5 again. Incredible speed, very good at passing. He's probably one of the best passers on the circuit in dirt.
Indeed, and I should also probably point out that Justin Morton is not just a dirt expert, but we have seen him race in multiples, a series and events, a really good all-around iRacer. But now we watch here. Brandon Proudfoot again will have lane choice as this gets going. Lights are still on the pace car, so there will be one more lap under caution. It looks like Proudfoot's probably going to take that high line again. But with this restart, he'll now have Chris Davis and J.R. Shepard, who are both on a good charge here, up 2 places from their starting spots. Watching here, and indeed, I think that is Proudfoot's indication that he will take that high line for start.
I watch John Wilson to be your big winner on this restart. Of course, he'll be up high, right behind Brandon. I look for him to follow him the same way Chris Davis did. Don't look now, though. J.R. Shepard cracked the top 3, of course, under that caution.
Did indeed. He'll be one to watch. We saw him making that low line work, so we'll have to see if he's able to keep on that pattern. But now eyes turn to the pace car as it pulls off, and Proudfoot gets on the pedal very early, gets a great jump over Chris Davis. And that's going to catch John Wilson sleeping out a little bit behind. It looks like there could be some good momentum coming up from behind from J.R. Shepard. Shepard gets a little bit cockeyed through the corner, and so they're going to be spread out in front. Proudfoot running that high line to perfection. Shepard running the middle line, and Davis down on the low line. Everybody looking pretty calm, cool, and collected here as they cross over for the first lap of green.
John Wilson kind of caught sleeping on the start there. I really looked for him to get a lot better of a jump than that, but of course not as good as he would have expected. I looked for him to be second right behind Brandon, but it looks like Chris Davis and J.R. Shepard were able to get in there. Interesting of note up at the front, a big battle, very good one between J.R. Shepard and Chris Davis. J.R. right now running the low line. Of course, there's tons of battles all throughout the field, including this one between Kenny Kibby and Justin Morton. Justin obviously involved in that last caution. He was the car that spun out to bring it out. Right now he's trying to make his way back up through the field. I don't believe he even took his faster pair there, DJ. He might be doing all this with a damaged car.
Indeed, and unlike the dirt street stocks we're used to seeing in the Bootleg Racing League, these big block modifieds, they're a little bit more sensitive to damage. So there could be some things happening there, but Justin certainly on a good charge here. But we've got to jump back up for this battle for P2. That is J.R. Shepard down to the inside, Chris Davis to the outside. They are fighting like cats and dogs here. Really, really good stuff. Shepard working on the low line. He's got it over Davis. Davis carrying more momentum. He's going to look down to the low line now, potentially. Shepard with a little bit of a block. Forces him up high. Is he going to be able to carry the momentum off of turn 2? It looks like they're going to be about side by side, but Davis not able to get the full overlap. Shepard now has the advantage up on the high line. He's going to try for a little bit of a crossover as John Wilson looks behind him, but it's not going to be enough. Chris Davis holds on. Ooh, that's a low move there for J.R. Shepard.
JR trying to get all the grip he can out of the car. Interesting to see that Chris Davis was able to come back around him. Now JR is trying to do what he did to begin with, work around him on that low line. Right now it looks like the best place to be is in the middle. Oh, a little bit of contact between Chris Davis and John Wilson. John Wilson almost got there. More contact, JR Shepard up into the wall.
Oh, J.R. Shepard up into the wall, and Jason Menda, I believe, collected him as well. This was just a little bit of bumping and banging, very similar to what we saw happen between Davis and Morton. There you see it. Oh, dare I say that was a little bit of ghost contact.
Hard
and there you can see the 45. Jason Menda just all into the side of J.R. Shepard.
That was a hard lick. I look for both those guys to come down pit road and get their faster pair done right now. Very, very unfortunate. Of course, I'm sure Chris Davis under this yellow going to be apologizing to JR, saying, hey, it wasn't intentional, just hard racing. That's what you'll have on dirt. A little bit side-by-side contact, not intentional, just something that happens.
Indeed, and that is what does happen on dirt quite often. Now, what's going to be interesting here is we are halfway through this race. And remember, Austin, what you were talking about early on in this broadcast, those guys that are running the low line, that heats up the tires a little bit more. Now, will they be able to kind of negate those effects by running under yellow like this, or is that going to be a full race concern if they continue to run low?
Honestly, I feel like when we keep having these cautions, it gives us a great opportunity to cool down the tires as a driver, and everyone knows that. Coming off of a caution, you know, all right, I'm going to have a little bit extra grip when I sail down there into the turns, so I should be a little bit faster through there. Of course, even on asphalt, when the tires get worn out, even if they're really, really old, for the first like 3 or so laps after a caution, you feel like Superman. The car's handling well, you're turning good, getting off the corner extremely well. Tires are cold. Once they get hot, though, it's not quite the same.
Well, as we look back here, I do believe We will be ready to go here on the next lap. And there's a bit of a change. It looks like Brandon Proudfoot gonna dive down to the low line here to start this up, forcing Chris Davis to start high.
This is a surprise to me. Even though we saw J.R. Shepard make the low line work to get by Chris Davis multiple times, I still feel like the fastest line is somewhere in the middle, but I feel like you want to be able to restart on the top to just control that. I feel like it's a safer option, although Brandon's a smart guy. Maybe he saw Chris Davis kind of get up into the car on the outside, force him up into the wall. Maybe Brandon goes, I want to be on the low side. Maybe make sure that doesn't happen to me too.
That could be the way he's thinking, but we'll have to see what plays out, as it looks like the lights are still on. So we're going to have one more lap of caution here. Drivers will get started back under green on lap 28.
One thing to note, though, Kenny Kibby, in the 14 car, we said he was going to be one of the guys to watch. He started in 12th. He's made up 6 spots. Now he's 1 spot shy of a top 5, just behind Justin Morton, who had also gone to the back earlier this race after bringing out the first caution with contact to the wall.
It was indeed so. Now I can confirm those lights are out, so they are ready to get going. You see Chris Davis there just kind of wiggling the car back and forth, maybe trying to get a little bit of heat in those tires, negate some of those effects that you were talking about, Austin. And there goes the pace truck. All eyes on Brandon Proudfoot, and another good start from him. And an equally good start there from John Wilson behind, but he's about to be gobbled up from behind, as that's Kenny Kibby and Robbie Robinson running on the high line. I think Robinson's going to have the crossover indeed. Oh, but there's contact. Robinson able to save it. A great bit of car control there. Justin Morton throws a slide job on him to try to get around, and he's going to be able to hold it. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is Justin Morton all the way back up into 4th place.
You saw John Wilson get a good jump this time, but one thing he didn't do well enough was he spun his tires down the straightaway and got really loose. Of course, that basically accordioned the field, and then a huge move by Justin Morton to get up on the outside. We said he'd be fast. I think he's going to make that high line work to get around John Wilson and track down Chris Davis and Brandon Proudfoot.
Yes, indeed. We continue to watch this little trifecta battle between Wilson, Robinson, and Morton. We ride on board with Justin Morton as he is up on the high line. Got good momentum. He's going to pull up alongside John Wilson as they cross over the timing and scoring line. Morton going to continue working that high line, and I think he's got it. Yep, there goes the momentum continuing. And indeed, by the time they enter into turn 3, that is going to be a advantage for Justin Morton. He is fully clear of the 75, moved his way back up into the podium positions. He now has his eyes set up ahead of him on the number 7 of Chris Davis.
I'm really interested to see what Justin does here. Does he try pull a slider? And if he does, when he finally gets side by side with Chris Davis, gets back to his side, what does he do? Does he try to pinch him lower? Does he just, choose the inside? Really interested to see. Tries to pull the slider, almost
slide job is what he's going to do. Hoi, oi, oi, Austin. Almost contact there again between the 9 and the 7.
Incredible. If he gets it done this time, Chris is still right on his back bumper, though. He might return the favor of a slide job here, but of course, Justin was faster. Might be able to pull away, track down Brandon Proudfoot, maybe do the exact same kind of a slider move to him for the race lead.
Looks like there for a second Chris Davis was trying to think about doing that, but he's not going to have any sort of overlap. So that is Justin Morton securely up into P2. Still a little bit of it's a hornet's nest behind him. That's Robbie Robinson and John Wilson and Kenny Kibby. Kibby almost coming into blows there with John Wilson, but able to save it. And now that's Robbie Robinson starting to challenge Chris Davis for the final podium position.
Battle for the final podium spot really heating up here. Chris Davis kind of feeling the pressure right now from all the guys behind him, especially Robbie Robinson.
Yeah, indeed he is. I wonder if Chris has maybe overheated those tires a little bit, having some trouble getting grip down. We look out of the back of that number 7 machine as he runs the high line. Robinson down to his inside. They're getting awfully close. The momentum's helping Chris Davis carry it along. Ooh, but he got a little bit squirrely there. He's going to try to thread the needle in between Wilson and Robinson. He's going to get a little bit of an overlap as they go down into turn 1. And there's the slide job that Davis is going to throw. Robinson tries to hold off, but had to throttle off the gas just a little bit there. And that's going to be Davis holding on to P3.
Excellent car control there by Chris Davis to see that coming, give it to Robbie, steer back underneath him, thread the needle, as you said, DJ, and pull a slide job back on Robbie to take the third spot back.
Really, really impressive moves there from Chris Davis. You can see John Wilson now under pressure from Kenny Kibby. Wilson continuing to lurk that lower line. Kibby running up high. That high line then playing out dividends. And there you can see the momentum he carries as we cross over the line with 11 laps to go. Very good run for Kenny Kibby. He's got, it looks like, full clearance over John Wilson. So that's going to be Kenny Kibby up into P5, demoting John Wilson down into 6th.
I'm interested to see just what Kenny can do here. Running at high line just like Justin Morton is. Maybe he gets up here and fights these guys for 4th and then 3rd. Robbie Robinson getting real sideways coming up off the corner. He's really hungry for that last podium spot. I don't think he quite appreciated the way that Chris Davis came back at him there.
No, I don't think he did either, but it looked like he was trying to go for a little bit of a slide job, couldn't get it done, and had to hold it down on the lone line, and that just cost him all the momentum that he wanted. As here he's going to try to dive down again on that low line, fully into the slick stuff as they come out of turn 4. Crossing over the line here as we are under 10 laps to go here at Bristol. Brandon Proudfoot continues to lead. This is one of the better battles on track, though. The final battle for the podium position, Chris Davis trying to hold off the 56 of Robbie Robinson.
You can see Davis still working at high sign. One thing that you got to remember about dirt track racing is the grip moves around, and the track will get slicker and slicker as the night goes on. You can see Justin Morton really use that to his advantage. One thing he isn't using to his advantage, though, is the high line over Brandon Proudfoot. Ever since he got to 2nd place, that gap's kind of remained consistent, about 1.4 seconds. You can see sometimes Justin makes some inroads into Brandon's lead. Brandon, though, doesn't really have to push. He's got a comfortable lead, more than a second, which for a small dirt track is a huge amount of time. Justin's doing everything he can. You can see him putting that right side of his car right up next to the wall, right on that cushion. One thing that's going to be interesting to see, though, Brandon's starting to catch lap traffic.
You read my mind there, Austin. Is that going to cause any problems for our leader? But we continue to follow here that battle. There he is as he's coming around the 86 of Austin Smith. He's able to clear him with no problems. Smith sticking down low. As there he goes, just working that high line. Again, remember, he started on the low line on that last restart and then jumped back up high again when he realized that's where the grip was. And that is truly one of the things that makes Brandon Proudfoot so incredible, is his ability to read the track.
One thing I'd like to point out is we see an excellent battle between Bobby Hayes and Billy Northcutt right now. Justin has actually shrank the lead to Brandon in the last couple laps by about 5 or 6 tenths. If he keeps this pace up, he's going to be within fighting distance in a couple short laps here. Going to make it a really, really exciting battle to the finish.
Oh, very, very much so. But we'll have to keep that eye out of that other corner of our eye, because our leader, Brandon Proudfoot, is crossing over the line to take the white flag. Justin Morton has been able to close up behind him to under a second. It's about 0.5 of a second right now, but I think barring any incident from the 22, this is his race. As he comes out of turn 4 right now, the 22 of Brandon Proudfoot takes the checkered flag, winning the Whiteriver Shootout here. Justin Morton on a yo-yo of a race, able to come home in P2, followed by Chris Davis in 3rd, Robbie Robinson and John Wilson rounding out your podium. Absolutely great race here at Bristol. The Bootleg Racing League putting on a fantastic show as always. Well, we here at VGN are going to take a very quick break, and then when we do, we will come back with the unofficial race results and some podium interviews. Whiteriver Shootout, brought to you by the Bootleg Racing League. Well, you can see the man there on your screen. That is Brandon Proudfoot, your winner here today. And let's go ahead and run you through that final finishing order where he was able to finish on the top step. But let's bring him on here into the booth in a second after we look at those results. As I said, Brandon Proudfoot was your winner, followed by Chris Davis and Justin Morton. Or excuse me, Justin Morton finished second, followed by Chris Davis. But we're going to go ahead and bring Brandon Proudfoot into the booth here for an interview. Well, Brandon, I gotta say that we are so used to seeing you win. It's good to see you winning in another machine.
No.
Having some problems here getting him into the booth, so you'll just have to hold with me. Austin, while we're waiting to fix that, just tell me about how great of a race that was. Just absolutely incredible to see these modifieds out there.
Yeah, it was a lot better race than I figured it would be. I thought it was going to be a race where we just followed the leader the whole time. Lots of side-by-side racing. Pleasant surprise. Of course, these guys always put on a fantastic show, so we really shouldn't be too surprised. But Bristol Dirt, what a great track. You know, we saw the NASCAR Cup cars come here. That was a fantastic race. I thought those cars did a great job. I didn't expect, though, that these cars could be as racy as we saw them here tonight. And it was very cool to see the bottom line come in, especially late in the race. You saw J.R. Shepard making it work there for a while. Even Justin Morton had to use it. And, of course, at the end, he used a high line to try to come back after Brandon Proudfoot. Really got excited after Brandon, let Justin eat up some of his lead while he navigated through the lap traffic there. And then at the end, all he had to do was just kind of nurse it home and just nurse that gap. So unfortunately, not as close of a race as it looked like it could be in the closing laps, but still a great job by everyone involved.
Indeed, a real treat to see these drivers out here, and obviously on a temporary circuit that iRacing has scanned that we can race anytime we want, but absolutely incredible. I love seeing the differences and some of the cream rise to the top here when we're racing these big block modifieds. There you see on your screen that little bit of a kerfluffle that Justin Morton and Chris Davis had early on. But a really impressive drive there from Justin to get himself back up the order. Remember, he started off on that restart back at about 9th or 10th and just made that high line work all the way through.
I'll be honest, I'm a little bit surprised, and I feel bad for saying this. I'm kind of surprised Justin was able to make it all the way back to finish second. After he got in that wreck early, I figured, maybe he'll take his faster pair. He'll have to come back from dead last, 13th, maybe 12th at worst, or at best, excuse me, and try to fight up through the field. I didn't think he could do it. Very surprised to see him finish second, but of course, highline dominant track there at the end. One of the best people at it is Justin.
Oh, for sure. I mentioned that early on, that he is such a good highline runner. And Robbie Robbins here also running a very, very good race. He obviously qualified a little bit higher, but he was right in the thick of the battle the entire time. But now we are going to finally get over to that interview with Brandon Proudfoot. Brandon, it's a different car, but it's the same position we're used to seeing you be in, P1.
Yeah, it's real nice. These cars, they're more up my wheelhouse, being that I come from the Dirt Late Model Pro Series, and these things are a little bit of a hybrid. They got kind of the rear end of a late model, but the front end of a sprint car, which you've seen under like cautions and whatnot. There, our front end jumping around. Different cars, same people, same community.
Well, we haven't really seen a lot of racing here out at Bristol Dirt. How do you like this track? Obviously, it's a bit of a wild card that NASCAR threw into the mix this year.
I personally really enjoy it. Depending on your car class, the big blocks, how they have to dry a little bit super straighter. with the moisture update, that bottom stayed alive a lot longer than anticipated. There towards the end of the race there, it definitely was two-line racing. About the last 15 laps or so, I backed myself off the wall because I didn't want to get any type of wall riding penalty. But if you're in a series to where wall riding's allowed and it's just all about not destroying your car, top's definitely a fast place here. And you can be just like it is in Bristol in real life. The top line can even be a tire conservation method versus really kicking it sideways on the bottom. You're driving it super straight up top, and that might help your tire wear, that might not. And it's fortunately we don't have tire wear too much here on the dirt side, but it's definitely a unique track for sure on the surface.
Well, I know it's one of my favorites, and I do love seeing you guys around here. Now, I gotta ask, we're getting ready for the new series, the Dirt Street Stocks. You coming back to reclaim the throne?
Oh, that's the plan. We're going into the winter months, and I did end up picking up a job here now that COVID's starting to come towards its end, at least hopefully in my area. But still be able to do my racing. I thankfully was able to get first shift, so I'll definitely be back here for next season, and at least in the winter months. And the hope is to get the real life car going. Couldn't get it done this year because of COVID and everything else, but hoping to get the real program going next year. But so I got at least another season in me.
Well, fantastic, Brandon. We look forward to seeing you. Anybody you'd like to thank for this win here today?
Of course, fistful of bourbon. Winners get whiskey, baby. General Tire, Polaris RZR, Vision Wheel. I'd like to welcome a new sponsor that we picked up here on Tuesday, Next Level Racing. Does sim rigs, monitor mounts, all that type of stuff. Check over at Next Level Racing. Just search them up on Google there. Look up their products there. Saint Racing Fabrication, Chris Leona Motorsports Drop. Lowell and all the guys for hosting the league and for having our first shootout here on the dirt side. Going to be trying to do the same thing tomorrow. I actually participating in the asphalt side, so I'll be dipping my toe somewhere I probably shouldn't, but we'll see what happens. And you guys here, Virtual Grip Network, for picking us up, and we'll see how long we go here.
Well, we're looking forward to it, Brandon. Thank you so very much. That was your winner here today, Brandon Proudfoot. And Austin, I believe you have caught up with the second place driver, Mr. Yo-Yo, Justin Morton.
That's correct. Hey, Justin, Austin up in the Virtual Grip booth. You got a copy?
Yep.
Hey, great job today, buddy. Fantastic race. Saw you really ripping that high line. Of course, you're one of the best guys at it in the league. Talk me through your race here and the emotions that you went through doing so well in the beginning, made some unfortunate contact with Chris Davis there, got to the outside wall, did a bit of a loop-to-loop. Just take us through some of those.
Yeah, at the start of the race, the inside line didn't fire off that great. So at that point, I was already a little frustrated. So I tried to jump up to that top side because I knew that's where the speed was. Just tried to slowly work my way up. And yeah, then we had that contact with Chris. It actually started to lift. We had left front to right rear contact, and it started to lift my car up. The second I got off of it, reloaded the car, and it kind of just snapped into the wall and just finally sent me around. At that point, I was seeing red the entire rest of the race, wishing I had about, 5 more laps. I might have got to Brandon.
Yeah, it looked like you had done a really, really good job of closing in on him when you guys had caught that lap traffic. I was really pulling for you there at the end to see how interesting you could make it there. Of course, I can identify with seeing red. I don't think you took your fast repair, did you?
No, I didn't take my fast repair. The car was fine. I just spun around. Car felt fine.
Okay, good to know. Justin, that's when you say the car was a bit damaged. Maybe if I had a full car, I could have caught Brandon there at the end, but we definitely appreciate the honesty. Are you going to be running also the asphalt shootout tomorrow night?
I will be running the asphalt shootout tomorrow night.
That's awesome to hear. We talked about it today during the broadcast. Not only are you very good on dirt, but you're also very, very fast on the asphalt. It'll be very, very cool to see you there. Is there anyone you want to thank for your run tonight, Justin?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my team, Toll Down Force Racing, great team. Hooks at us for the great paint, Gargamil's Kitchen for sponsoring us, or I think that's correct. Lowell for running this league, and thank you guys for doing the broadcast, and welcome to the broadcasting world.
Justin Morton, a pleasure to watch on the track as always. I think DJ has caught up with a third place finisher, Chris Davis.
I have indeed, and Chris, that was a pretty bumpy and bangy race there for you, but you managed to come home in P3. It's got to be a good result for you.
Yeah, I want to apologize to Justin even before the rest of the race. I'm definitely going to go back. No ill intent. I was just trying to run the middle after saw him coming around the outside, and tried to hold the middle because there can still be some speed there if you keep rolling that up. Touched wheels. These cars are really touchy. If you unload the suspension at all, they can just all of a sudden snap right on you. I'll have to go back and watch the replay.
Well, it was a great race from you there regardless. Are we going to see more of you on the dirt side in this next season?
Oh, as we're going to winter, absolutely. After COVID, having the opportunity to just get out and about over the summer, I wanted to when I could, when the weather was nice. There's some BRL races here. A couple weeks ago, my good friend Gary and I went out to bucket list track for us at Port Royal, Pennsylvania. 50 to win. Doing that when we could, and now that the weather's going to get cold, yeah, I'll be indoors.
Well, excellent, Chris. We're really looking forward to seeing you back in the series. And I have to ask you, it looked like a little bit of a new scheme here tonight. Are you coming off of the yellow, black, and pink, or is this just a one-off?
Yeah, I tried this a little bit different. It's actually a friend of mine's, his favorite color scheme, so I thought I'd try that. Yeah, I don't know. I like it. I'm a Billy Northcutt.
Well, all right, Chris. Thank you for that, man. Anybody you'd like to thank for this third place here today?
Well, I want to thank my friend Gary, who's always cheering me on, my Aunt Lorraine up in New Hampshire, who cheers me on. I want to thank Austin, you, DJ Clark, for broadcasting, Sean for joining this group. I heard it was an incredible broadcast. I can't wait to see what the Virtual Grip Network is going to do. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. So I feel privileged that you guys let me come race with them, that Lowell puts this on, and that you guys do just phenomenal.
Well, thank you very much, Chris, and congratulations again on a third place here today. Race together. That's Lowell Jewell and the rest of the Bootleg Racing League, as well as our director, Mike Yao, as well as my commentary partner here in the booth, Austin Belkey. We'd also like to thank our sponsor here today, Whiteriver LLC. This is a reminder, they are a risk management and consulting firm for industry and government and is owned by a 2-decade supporter of sim racing. And most importantly, we'd like to thank you, the audience, for tuning in here today for today's Whiteriver Shootout. Be sure to like and subscribe to the Virtual Grip Network, as well as marking down your calendar for tomorrow's race. That's right. There's another one tomorrow, as the Bootleg Racing League will host the 6th annual Stone River Shootout. And that is going to be an event you don't want to miss. It's the late models at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Once again, that'll be tomorrow night, September 25th at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time. But until then, from all of us here at VGN, thank you again for watching. We'll see you next time.